So now we discuss directive principles. So directive principles are non-justiciable in nature, non-justiciable, and they are not legally enforceable by the courts. For their violation, therefore, the government, central, state, and local government cannot be compelled to implement them. Okay, and nevertheless, the Constitution Article 37 itself says that these principles are fundamental in the governance of the country, and itself is the duty of the state. So, so they are non-justiciable. Please remember, and Jerry, nevertheless, the Constitution itself 37, Article 37 itself says that these principles are fundamental in the governance of the country, and it shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles and making laws. So here they embody the welfare state and not the police state, which existed during the colonial era. So seeks to establish economic and social and democracy in the country. The directive principle, though non-justiciable in help in nature, help the court in examining and determining the constitutional validity of a law. The Supreme Court has ruled many a times that in determining the constitutionality of any law, if the court finds that the law in question seeks to give effect to directive principles. So now next part. So please remember here is new important here is welfare state not police state, and here is not legally enforceable by the courts of violation, and Article 37 important to implement. Therefore the governments local central local and state will implement them. And here is so if a court finds that the law in question seeks to give effect to a directive principle, if it may consider such law to be reasonable in nature, Article 14 equality before law, Article 96 freedoms, and Article 96 freedom, Article 14 equality before law, and thus save the law from the unconstitutionality. Classification of directive principle. So the Constitution does not contain classification of the directive principle. However, on the basis of their consent and direction, they can be classified into three broad categories: socialist, Gandhian, and liberal. Socialist principle. So here is Constitution does not classify any classification of DPSP on the basis of their content and direction, and classified in broad categories. You can see social, Gandhian, and liberal classification. Social principles. These principles that reflected the ideology of socialism. They lay down the framework of a democratic socialist state, aimed at providing social economic justice and set path towards a welfare state. They direct the state to promote the welfare of the people and securing a social order and permitted by justice, social, economic, political justice, and minimize inequalities of income, status, facilities, and opportunity. Article 38. So to promote welfare state and by securing social order justice permitted by justice, so social, economic, and political justice, and minimize inequalities, inequalities, status, facilities, opportunities. Article 38, and to secure the right to adequate means of livelihood for all citizens, and to equitable distribution of material resource of the community for the common good, and prevention of the concentration of wealth and of means of production, and equal pay for equal work for men and women. So please remember to secure here Article 38 we discuss welfare state, and to secure the adequate means of livelihood for all citizens, equitable distribution of material resources of the community common good, and prevention of the concentration of wealth and means of production, equal pay for equal work, equal pay for equal for men and women, and preservation of health and strength of the workers and children for civil abuse, opportunities for healthy and development of our children. Okay, so please remember all important. So preservation of the health, strength, workers and children against possible opportunities for healthy development of our children. Article 39. To promote equal justice and provide free legal aid to the poor. Article 39A. To provide free legal aid and equal justice and provide free legal aid to the poor. Article 39A. To secure right to work to education and to public assistance in cases of unemployment, old age, sickness, and disablement. Article 41. Okay, please to promote. So please remember here Article 39 is 6, 6 works. 6 welfare works. So please remember opportunity to healthy development and the strength of the workers, children, etc. You can see. So here we discuss. So Article 38 here you can see here towards welfare state. So it's providing aim at providing social economic justice. So framework of democratic socialist state to promote the welfare of the people by seeking social order, permitted justice, equal social economy and politics. SPE. Okay, to minimize the inequalities of the status, income, opportunity. Article 38, and to secure right to adequate means of livelihood of the all citizen, equitable distribution of the material resource and of the community of common good, preservation constraints of wealth and means of production, equal pay for equal work by means of women for women and men and women, preservation of the health and strength of workers of and children against forcible abuse, opportunities for healthy development. Article 39. Article 39 6 rights. And 39A to promote equal justice and provide free legal aid to the poor. Hmm. Equal justice and free legal aid to the poor. And to secure the right to work, to secure Article 41 to secure right to work, education, right to education and public assistance in case of unemployment, old age, sickness, disablement. Article 41. and and 42 to make provision for just and human condition for of works and maternity relief, to make provisions of for just and human condition of works and maternity relief. Article 42. Okay, to secure living wage and a decent standard of life and social cultural opportunities for all workers. Article 43. To secure a living wage, decent standard of life, living and cultural opportunities for all workers. Article 43. To make provision here referred to make provision of just for just human condition for work maternity relief. Article 42. And to take steps to secure the protection of the workers and management industry. Article 43. And 47, to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living to improve the health. Article 47. Gandhian principle. When these principles are based on Gandhian ideology, they represent the program of reconstruction enunciated by Gandhi during the national movement in order to fulfill the dreams of Gandhi. Some of the ideas of his ideas were included. Executive principles they require the state. And then with the Gandhian principle, these principles are based on Gandhian ideology. They represent the program of reconstruction enunciated by Gandhi during the national movement in order to fulfill the dreams of Gandhi. Okay, so here we can discuss here to promote equal justice and free legal aid to the poor. Article 39A, and to secure right to work, right to education and public assistance, unemployment, old age, sickness. Okay, in case of unemployment. Okay, and to make provisions for just and human conditions for work and maternity leave. Article 42. To secure living a wage and standard of life. 43. And to secure participation of work and management industries, level of nutrition. Here we can discuss. 43A, Article 43A mainly. 43 and 43A, living wage and standard of life, and 43A, participation of workers, management industry, and 47, it is the level of nutrition, okay, improve health. Gandhian principle. So principle based on Gandhian ideology represent the reconstruction enacted by Gandhi, enunciated by Gandhi during the national movement in order to fulfill the dreams of the Gandhi. So here ideas are included in the directive principles. They require they require the state to organize village panchayats, endow them with necessary powers to organize village panchayats and endow them necessary an authority to enable them function unit of self government. Article 40. So village panchayat. Article 40, and endow them to necessary powers function self government. It is mainly Article 40. Please remember important topic. And here uh, sorry sorry So next we discuss now that is, so here the Gandhian principle is discussed. So nutrition, it is mainly Article 1747, and to raise level of nutrition and organize village panchayats and enter them with necessary powers and authority to enable them function unit as units of self-government, Article 40. So DPSP Part 4 on 36 to 51. So here you can discuss another, okay, Gandhian principle. So self-government and promote cottage industries of an individual. So 43, Article 43, 40, 43. So in rural area, and promote voluntary formation, autonomous functioning, democratic control, professional management, cooperative society, Article 43b. So promote voluntary formation, autonomous functioning, and democratic control and professional management, cooperative society, Article 43b. And promote educational and for cooperative society, Article 43b. Please remember Article 43b. To promote 46, to promote education, promote the educational and economic interest of SC/ST and other weaker section of the society, and to protect them from social injustice and exploitation, Article 46. So promote educational and economic interest of SC/ST and other weaker section of the society, and protect them from social injustice and exploitation, Article 46. To promote the educational and economic interest, ST, another weaker section. Please remember Article 46. Mainly Gandhian principle here. And to prohibit, sorry, yes. So please remember to prohibit the here to protect the educational interest of SC/ST and other weaker section of the society, to protect them from social injustice and exploitation. Article 46, to promote to prohibit consumption and intoxicating drinks, drugs which are injurious to health. Article 47, to prohibit slaughter of cows, calves, calves, and other milch of draught cattle, to improve their breeds. Article 48. So mainly it is Gandhian principle. Gandhian principle placed on Article 46, 47, 48, 43, 43, 40, etc. You can see village panchayats, cottage industries, and voluntary formation from cooperative societies, so SC/ST, and drinks, drugs, intoxicant prohibit. Okay, and calves, okay, and cattle related improvement. And liberal and intellectual principle. The principle in this category represent the ideology of liberalism. They direct the state to secure all the citizens to the uniform civil code throughout the country, to secure all the citizens its uniform civil code throughout the country, to provide free every childhood care and education for all children until they complete the age of 6 years, to secure all the citizens for a uniform civil code throughout the country, and to provide early childhood care and education for all the children. It is a liberal principle. So secure all citizen uniform civil code 44 and others. So uniform civil code we discuss. So it is mainly they all are mainly Gandhian principle. Please remember. So I also revise again and again because you can remember all the time. It is mainly Gandhian principle and liberal principle here to secure all the citizen uniform civil code 44 to provide free every childhood care and education for all the children until the age of complete of 6 year 45 Article 45, and to organize animal and agriculture husbandry on modern and scientific lines, Article 48, to provide early childhood care and education for all children, and organize agriculture and animal husbandry in modern scientific line. So next, so please see. Okay. So on next is to improve the environment and safeguard Forest and wildlife 48A, to protect mountains and places and objects of artistic holistic interest which are declared to be national important, article 49, to protect monuments, places and of monument places, okay, artistic historic interest and declared to be national important, article 49, and to separate the judiciary from the executive and the public service of the state, article 50, and to protect the national international peace and security and maintain just honorable relations between nations, and to foster respect for international law and treaty obligation, and to encourage settlement of international disputes and arbitration, article 51. So Gandhian liberal principle, 50 here you can see. So separation of judiciary from executive. So judiciary from executive, separation of judiciary from executive in the public service of the state, 50, to protect national importance, international importance and other things. It is 51. So new directive principles here for the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976 added the four new directive principles to the original list. They require the state to secure opportunities of healthy development of children. Article 39. Okay, so all are new directive principles. So the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. They require the state to secure opportunities for healthy development of children, article 39, and 39A to promote equal justice and provide free legal aid to the poor, article 39A, and 43A to take steps to secure the participation of workers and in the management of industries, article 43A, okay, to take steps to secure the participation of workers in management industries, article 43A, and for 39 to promote equal justice and free legal aid to the poor, and to protect the improvement of the environmental safeguards. So please remember, so to separate so here we discuss before, it is mainly, all are mainly liberal principles to protect the environment and safeguard the forest and wildlife, and to protect the place monuments, etc. 49, 48, 49, 50 here judicial executive differentiation and cattle. So all are saying. Now we discuss the new directive principle article. So 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. Please remember, add four new directive principles to secure opportunities for healthy development of children. Article 39, to protect, promote equal justice and free legal aid to the poor. Article 39, and to take steps to secure the participation of workers in the management industry. Sorry, so here to take steps to secure the participation of workers in the management industry. Article 43A, to protect the improve the improve the environmental and safeguard forest and wildlife. 48A, so please remember 43A, to take steps to secure participation of workers in management industries and equal justice free legal to the poor. 39A, and here to protect the improve of the environmental condition. Okay. So Article 44, the 44th Amendment Act of 1978 added one more directive principle which require the state to minimize inequalities of the income, status, facilities, and opportunity. Article 38. It is only 44th Amendment Act of 1978 added one more directive principles to the state to minimize the inequality of income and status, facilities, opportunity. The 86th Amendment Act of 2002 changed the subject matter of the article, changed the subject matter of the Article 5045, that made elementary education a fundamental rights under Article 21A. The amendment directive requires the state to provide early childhood care and education for all the children until they can complete the age of 26 years. Okay, so here Article 21, 86th Amendment Act of 2002 changed the subject matter of Article 45, made elementary education a fundamental rights under Article 21. The amend directives requires the state to provide early childhood care, etc. Okay, so here you can see new directive principle to secure healthy opportunity, healthy development of children. Article 39, to promote equal justice, free legal aid to the poor. 39A, and to protect the participation of workers management industry. 43A, to protect improvement environmental safeguard. Article 48A, 43A, 48A, 44th Amendment Act of 1978, it added one more directive principle which requires to minimize the inequalities of income, facilities, opportunities, etc. Article 38. Okay, so it is mainly 44th Amendment Act of 19 new directive principle 1978. So please remember healthy development and feeling led and management industries to protect the environmental safeguards. Okay, so here they have 88th 86th 44th 90 Act of 1978 added new principles. It is mainly state to minimize the inequality of income status and opportunity. Article 38. 86th Amendment Act of 2002 changed the subject matter of the Article 45 that made elementary education a fundamental right. Article 21 the amend directive requires the state to provide early childhood care and education for all till until the age of until they complete the age of 6 years. So the amendment directive requires the state to provide early childhood care and education for all children until they complete the age of 6 years. The 97th Amendment Act of 2011 added a new directive principle relating to cooperative societies. 97th Amendment Act of 2011 added a new directive principle relating to cooperative society. It requires the state to promote voluntary formation, autonomous functioning, democratic control, and professional management of cooperative societies. 43B. So 97th of the 2000, so 86 2002 45 here and made elementary education of fundamental rights under Article 21 and 97th 2011 relating to cooperative societies. So now next we discuss another things from here. So sanction behind. So here you can see sanction behind the objective principle. Dr. Sir B.N. Rao, the constitutional advisor of the Constitutional Assembly, recommended the rights of an individual should be divided into two categories: justiciable and non-justiciable. Who described B.N. Rao, advisor, constitutional advisor. Again, so here yeah, Hammerly recommended the individual should be divided into two categories: justiciable and non-justiciable, which was accepted by the drafting committee. Consequently, the fundamental rights, which were justiciable in nature, the fundamental rights are justiciable in nature, and incorporated in Part 3 of the and the directive principles are non-justiciable. Fundamental rights are justiciable and directive principles non-justiciable. Come Part 4 and read fundamental rights Part 3. Okay. So sanction behind the directive principle now is study. So here you can see 97th Act Amendment Act 2011 DPSP relating to cooperative societies. Promote voluntary formation and functioning of the democratic control of. Okay. So next we discuss now. So B.N. Rao describe justiciable and non-justiciable divided, and here mainly one is mainly justiciable, who is what is mainly fundamental rights. It is justiciable and it is come under Part 3, and DPSP mainly non-justiciable and it is mainly come under Part 4. Though the directive principle of non-justiciable, the Constitution Article 37 makes it clear that these principles are fundamental in the governance of the country. Itself the duty of the state to apply these principles and making laws. So, the directive principle of non-justiciable Article 37. The Constitution Article 37 makes it clear that these principles are fundamental and in the governance of the country. Itself the duty of the state to apply these principles. So, please remember. So, according to Constitution, directive principles are non-justiciable. So, under Article 37. It's clear that these principles are fundamental in the governance of the country and itself is the duty of the state to apply this principle and making law. These principles are fundamental in the governance of the country. So itself is the duty of the state to apply this principle and making law. Thus they impose a moral obligation of the state to state authority for their application, and the real force behind them is political, that is public opinion. So they impose the moral obligation of the states on the state authorities for the application, but the real force behind them political and public opinion, as observed Alladhi Krishna Swami Iyer, no ministry response to the people can afford heartedly to ignore the provision of the Part 4 of the Constitution. Similarly, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said the Constitutional Assembly that a government rests on popular vote and can hardly ignore, and the directive principles while stepping its policy. If any government ignores them, it will clearly, certainly have to answer that that before the electorate at the election time. So no ministry responsible for the to the people to can afford lightheartedly to ignore the provision of the Part 4 of the Constitution. Similarly, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar says, so government can on popular vote. Important here. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said that in the Constitutional Assembly that the government which rests on popular vote can hardly ignores the date principle while shaping its policy. If any government ignores them, it will be certainly have to answer that before the electorate at the election time. The framers of the Constitution made the deed principle non-justiciable and not and legally non-enforceable because the country did not possess sufficient financial resources to implement them. So deed principle is not enforceable. The framers of the Constitution made it non-justiciable. The country did not possess sufficient financial resources to implement them. So please remember. So here so justice were non because the country did not possess sufficient resources, financial resources to implement them. The presence of vast diversity and backwardness in the country would stand in the way of their implementation. And the newly born independent Indian states, with its many prosecution, might be crushed under the burden unless it was free to decide the time, decide the order of the time, the place, and the mode of fulfilling them. The newly born independent state with its many prosecutions, many preoccupation might be cast under the burden unless it was free to decide order of time and place and the mode of fulfilling them. The constitution maker may therefore take it to talking a pragmatic view, refined, refrained from giving teeth of these principles. They believed more in eloquent public opinion rather than in court proceedings. So criticism of the directive principle. The directive principle of state policy have been criticized by some members of the Constitutional Assembly as well as the constitutional and political experts. No legal force. No legal force criticize this theory because non-justiciable character. So here you discuss no legal force theory. Sir Ivor Jennings called it pointed out that these principles have no constitutional philosophy. Okay, and theory mainly a conservative theory. Ivor Jennings' directive principle based on philosophy of the 19th century of England. So here you can see and constitutional conflict case Santhanam has pointed out that the DPSP directives had led to constitutional conflict between the center and the states, between the president, minister, prime minister, and between the governor and chief minister. According to him, the center can give directions to the states with respect regard to implement them of this principle, and in case of non-accept compliance, can discuss state government, and similarly the prime minister gets. So Jerkis and Thanam pointed out. So it is mainly conflicted. So here we discuss prime minister, president, and governors and chief minister between center and state. So here we discuss constitutional conflict. We discuss. So next we discuss others. Just open it. Please wait. So all the top is this topic is very important for our prelims and main purpose. So the prime minister gets a bill which violates the directive principles by the parliament. That's what the parliament. Okay, so here you can see the ministry has no right to ignore them. So because The prime minister get the bill passed by the parliament, and the president may reject the bill on the grounds these principles are fundamental that the governance of the country, and hence the ministry has no right to ignore them. The same constitutional conflict may occur between the governor and the chief minister of the state level. So now we discuss, and next we discuss utility of the directive principles. So thank you.